Welcome back to Talk Horror to Me, the only horror movie review podcast that knows, and all our hosts know, that we just want to be superstars. But before we bring in Carly and Brooke, let's see what we're watching tonight. Tonight, we review Maxine. Maxine is a 2024 American psychological horror film written, directed, produced, and edited by Ty West. It is the third installment in West's X film series following X and Pearl, both from 2022. Maxine serves as a direct sequel to the film X. Mia Goth reprises her role as Maxine Minx, starring alongside Elizabeth Debicki, Moses Sumney, Michelle Monaghan, Bobby Cannavale, Halsey, Lily Collins, Giancarlo Esposito, and Kevin Bacon. In Maxine, in 1980s Hollywood, adult film star and aspiring actress Maxine Minx finally gets her big break. However, as a mysterious killer stalks the starlets of Los Angeles, a trail of blood threatens to reveal her sinister past. Hear ye, the gang's all here. What's going on, ladies?
Not much. Just made it here on time. So
we're so proud of your professionalism today, Carly. It warms our heart that you're here and we don't panic about you not being here. So thank you. Now, I'm going to go ahead and admit I picked this film because I wanted to be like Carly because she got to do a trilogy of films. I wanted to do a trilogy of films, and therefore Maxine is my pick. But Carly, what did you think of this film?
It had, like we were saying backstage, it had a lot more plot than I thought it was going to have, which I thought it was just going to be like a slasher film, kind of like, because X was kind of a slasher film. So I was expecting another one. You know how Scream is slasher. This is a lot of backstory, a lot of her life, and it's fantastic. It had some really gross parts, which was fantastic. It had that sleaze that Kevin Bacon played, and he was just so skeezy. It was fantastic. He did a great job. Mia Goth, amazing as always, and Halsey was in it. Oh, I missed that.
Was she? That's what I said.
That.
Yeah, she was in it.
It was a lot. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it was going to.
Oh, well, I appreciate that you liked it more so. As my pick, it makes me happy when you like it. So, Brooke, did you like it?
I liked it. I liked like she said, the backstory, but I liked the history behind it, how it had the Night Stalker in it, like his story. And so there was, I guess, 2 serial killers they was looking for. And so that's what I liked about it, that they had his story in there too, which I don't know how I related to it, but it was good to have his story in there too.
Well, I think the point was if you're using a backdrop of 80s Hollywood, I mean, that was happening. It's probably why Ty West picked that year to have that active serial killer on the loose that everybody's panicking about. And then everybody's kind of like looking this way while somebody else can swoop in and do their own thing. Because even when those girls were found, they attributed it to, it must be another Night Stalker killing. So we're all kind of made to believe that it's just one killer on the loose, when in reality, our story is just an encapsulation of just that wider tapestry of the LA kind of stigma of what's going on in that era. What I loved about it was the satanic panic. 80s, late 70s, early 80s was all about Satanism and how that was why everybody's killing people. So I like the ritualistic, pentagrams on the cheek that you saw in the movie summary. So I love that. I love the whole. I mean, it's so funny now. Like that was 1980s, and we're like here 50 years later, going, 40 years later, going, oh, that's old Hollywood. Well, I mean, to us, it's old Hollywood, but old Hollywood is not golden era of Hollywood. But I like kind of like the backdrop of like her trying to make it, Maxine trying to make it even after all that, and trying to be that breakthrough role between porn and starlet. which I thought was kind of, it's weird but funny, and it happens every so often. For me, the story was amazing. I'm gonna say at the onset, like same thing I said about Carly's third film, Glass, last week, is that is a standalone film. This film is good, but it's made better by the its prequel X, and then obviously the X's prequel Pearl. So I think as a trilogy, which they're not saying is necessarily just a trilogy, Ty West is talking about possibly a fourth installment. But I do love that in this trilogy of films, that it just kind of is a beautiful encapsulation of like, whatever happened to that girl? Because in all the horror films we ever see, unless the person is directly in the sequel, we never know what actually happens to the final girl after the fact. So I kind of love that there was the final girl. You see, like how she's dealing with it, like dealing with the trauma and PTSD of being stalked by a killer. I mean, I kind of love that when she was getting the goop on her for the head plaster, the head cast, that she was freaking out. I love that they threw that in there and didn't like just kind of make it like, I'm tough, I'm cool, it doesn't bother me. I love that she had that vulnerability of still dealing with that crap that happened to her. And I believe it was in the original film in the 70s, so 10 years previous. So I loved it. I thought it was a great film. Again, I love the actors. I love Kevin Bacon was bleh. I love that he was so gross.
Easy. He was fantastic.
Yeah, I loved it. So I definitely highly recommend Ty West and his filmography. This trilogy of films, I think he's really made a punctuation on his status as a writer, director, producer, editor, all around. You know, he's being like the new M. Night. So I guess Ty West is just like M. Night in that way. So I loved it that way. So ladies, Carly, I want to ask you, give us a pro con. I mean, what are you thinking?
The pro, it was the plot of the story. The pro was the story itself, because I wasn't expecting it. You know? I was just expecting slash. So we got a story, and it was fantastic. The con, well, we could have used a little bit more of that skeezy Kevin Bacon, but you know.
I mean, I thought we got a lot of them.
We got a lot of them.
And I really didn't think he was going to survive the altercation in the car.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
I thought that. I mean, when I saw the fistful of keys, I thought it was going to go a lot worse for him than it did.
Yeah,
he's a badass.
Yeah,
tell you what.
How about you, Brooke? How about Brooke? Brooke,
my pros was the gore of it. I liked when she blew his head off and his head busted open. I like that part. I like when he was stabbing her friend, the black guy, when she was stabbing him, all the gory. I like the gory about it. That was my pros. The con of it, I would say, I don't know. I didn't really have a con in this one. I guess
not enough gore. I guess.
Well, I don't know. The gore was good. The gore was on point.
You just wanted more of it. That's all.
Yeah. I didn't really have a con though.
Oh, all right. Wow, that's. I think this is foreshadowing to her rating of the film. But before we get to mine, I want to go into our favorites because pros, cons, favorites. And it will swing back around. So I will tell you, it's so funny, Brooke. I forgot that scene with her friend in the video store. I forgot the scene, and it was very much like kind of the most extended, like kind of kill shot. And I'm like, man, I was like, oh yeah, that. And I think it was like that was so backseat to the story. And it kind of was gratuitous in a lot of ways. I mean, it makes sense as the reasons why, but it was like, oh, here's a lot of gore in a story that's more about her story, not about the gore. So I think that's my favorite part.
Really important to her.
It was. No, I get it, but if you think about it, there's a weird inversion of gratuity of gore against her story.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it wasn't and I think that's my favorite thing about this film and my pro is that it's happening again, everything is a backdrop to her. So her friends disappearing, her co-star, her friend at the video store, all these things are happening in and around her. But because she'd seen so much, I mean, this girl's experienced so much on that farm in the middle of Texas or wherever it was, it seems like so bleh. It seems like whatever. It happens. It's like, and it's just, it's a disconnect. I think she was affected, don't get me wrong, but there was a disconnect between her trajectory of stardom and pursuit of stardom and the killings. So it's kind of like real life in that way, where there's a lot of dispassion and detachment in a lot of ways. So that was my pro, and my favorite was the ending when she goes up the starlight trolley or whatever you want to call that. I think everything from that moment on was super hyper realistic or hyper real for her. And then if you go into the secret, wikis and stuff about it, some of that might not even be true. So if you think about her launch to stardom, there's a lot of people saying that a lot of that stuff is in her head. That's happening in a split second, and she's not really experiencing that stardom yet. Because when she sees the Maxine sign instead of the Hollywood sign, when she's on the red carpet and she's like, everybody's, oh my God. It's like some of that is like a dream sequence until Brooke's favorite part of the blowed up face.
And she's looking up at the helicopter.
Yeah.
And then you go into
all
something in her mind.
Yep. Could be. I mean, I didn't catch it until I was reading about it because I thought it was all, but the way they shot it, that makes me believe, oh yeah, because of the searchlight, and then it cuts away from the situation and then comes back around to the situation. Then I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So that, like, the way they shot it, my favorite. Those scenes were amazing, and so I also am like Brooke. I really don't have a lot of cons. There's really nothing I can point to that's like, oh, this really takes me out of it. Even one of the things I loved about this film is the plasticity of Hollywood, because the story at the end of the day is about me trying to be a starlet, right? Just kind of like what we had in The Substance. I want to keep on top, stay on top, be perceived to be on top. And we got a lot of the back lot of like, hey, here's where Psycho is shot. Here's the actual house. And the interior is empty. It's just a bunch of scaffolding. Yes. So I love the fact that we got to see behind the Hollywood glamour, because what she is really behind the Hollywood glamour, but she's trying to get in front of it to be that glamorous star. So
was that Pearl? Was that Pearl in the window that she was looking at? What she was staring at?
Yes.
Pearl? Okay. Yeah, I was making sure I was looking like.
Yeah, because in reality, I think they have a dummy figure of Anthony Perkins' mother in the original Psycho is in that window. But no, it definitely was Pearl for a split second before she snapped back to reality. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I loved it end to end. Other than it being a slower version of Pearl and X, I mean, in that way, it kind of really slowed the pace down. So that was my only drawback of it. But I think as a trilogy, amazing.
Yep.
Yes,
I agree.
So we're doing our favorites now, right?
Yeah. So swing it back around, Carl. I didn't want to be presumptuous.
Okay. Well, I got to say, when I realized what a badass she was, that was when that guy was chasing her and caught up to her in the alley, and he had that knife, and she fucked him up. I loved it. That was my favorite. Keaton. That was the moment I knew, okay, this girl's she's gonna make it.
I mean, I thought to that point, just pulling the weapon was enough.
Yeah.
To like kind of prove that point, but man, she took it to the nth degree. I did not see that coming, and neither did he. And that was painful.
Like, oh shit.
Oof, so kudos to that. That was definitely a favorite. And Brooke, you already talked about I think it's you that said about the head getting blown off.
Yeah.
Or was that Carly? I mean, was that your favorite?
That was
well, my favorite was leading up, like you said, when she was going up the the elevator thing.
The
And
trolley, whatever. Yeah.
And it reveals that it was her father, and she's just looking like that was my favorite part when that part happened. And then you see all the Christian people, the people around her.
Wait, so let me understand. The people admonishing the sin and vulgarity of Hollywood by shooting their own sinful, violent version of anti-Hollywood.
Right.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's a way to get your message out. Hey, don't do this. I just say very short-sighted for some reason.
Yeah.
That's what you get with zealots. Zealots, you get a lot of like, you should have thought it through. Maybe more storyboards. I don't know, but I don't think this scene works with this scene. But I mean,
and I'm sorry I spoiled that, Brooke.
That's right. We're always spoiling it for everybody. So, in that regard, without saying more about that scene, do you feel that the trilogy of films, the way some of that was on the TV in the very beginning, in Pearl's house, we saw that evangelical guy talking about all the sins of the world, and then kind of led you into the fact they're shooting a porn film in the barn. How do you feel like that, and then re-seeing some of that, and the like, kind of like, hey, reminder, Maxine was somebody who was quote unquote abducted or whatever. Like, do you like how it all tied back in? Do you think the inner threading of the three films worked?
Yeah, absolutely, it worked. Well, I can't say 3 because I didn't watch Pearl, but I saw. I'm sorry.
Pearl was just as good.
It wasn't assigned. I'm kidding. I never did.
It wasn't assigned reading.
You didn't do Pearl? I thought you did.
No,
Pearl.
I did not do Pearl. No,
I thought we did too, honestly. But maybe I just watched Pearl because it was so good.
You did. You watched it right after we did X, and you're telling us to watch it, and I never did.
Pearl.
Oops. Carly's busy. She doesn't have time to be watching films not assigned to her.
What can I say?
He's like, listen, I gotta go karaoke. Leave me alone. Well, I will tell you that the opening shot of Pearl is very like over the rainbow-ish, dancing with scarecrows, almost making love to such that scarecrow. It's pretty bonkers, honestly, Carly. So if you wanted to watch it, it could definitely be watched out of order because obviously it's all about the old lady and her youth. But yeah it's pretty messed up.
Yeah, Pearl psycho.
She just wanted to be a star, Brooke. She just wanted to be a star.
Oh my goodness.
That's all it was. Which I think is kind of funny because in those two films, you have a person or people in X. They all wanted to be big time producers, have this very Art Nouveau porn film. You had Maxine wanting to be a star no matter what. You had Pearl wanting to get out of her small town life to become a star in some way. So yeah, it was almost like this whole series is a cautionary tale of maybe don't reach so far that you lose yourself in all the madness that is the industry. Yeah, but they were go for broke or go to hell to get these, to kind of find fame.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love how there's social commentary to it. The 80s backdrop had a lot of commentary to it about everybody protesting Puritan, and they're doing Puritan too. I just, it was great. But I don't want to be
to see the 80s though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, and the soundtrack was great.
It was. It really was. And there's something about nostalgia period pieces, which is unfortunately 70s, 80s, 90s is nostalgia to us. Brooke, I know that the aughts and the 10s are nostalgia to you, but
the 90s old people, for me.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Forget, I was born in the 87. I was born in 87, so I was in the 90s.
So, like I said,
you were just a baby when I graduated.
I know. I think I was graduating high school.
87.
But you know what? That's fine. But what we need to do is not focus on Brooke's age. We need to focus on this film. And let's see. All right. You know what, Carly? I've been going first to you a lot. So I'm going to go first to Brooke and what she rates this film.
No. Go to Carly first. No, I'm just joking.
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it, of course, 5 stars. 5. You better go home, bitches, because I made it. All right, I did whatever she said. Remember when she came out and she said I aced it or something?
When she's walking out in her denim outfit.
Yeah.
I would say that was a great scene too, though. I mean, because that was a one cut scene of that whole monologue she did, so that was fantastic as well.
Yeah, it was good.
Yes.
What did you rate the film?
I'm going to give it a 4.9 stilettos to the balls.
Oh, wait, so how did it lose a 1/10 of a point? Was it the dismount? What happened? It lost a 10th.
It was right. It was a little too early to kill Kevin Bacon.
Okay, so you're all about more bacon.
Always.
More bacon. Okay,
Always.
I got it. I can understand taking a 10th off for not enough bacon. Because I get it. I, on the other hand, will. I kind of I feel the same as I did about Glass. I want to rate it lower as an individual film, as opposed to a culmination of the 3 films. Although I think it's still a stronger entry as its own film than Glass was, because Glass was very dependent on the previous 2 films. This one, I mean, you could walk into this unknown woman that you knew escaped something and still really enjoy the film. So I am going to be like Brooke today. I'm going to give it 5 stars or 5. And I had, it's funny, I'm stalling because I had what I was going to do and I forgot. And now as I'm talking, I'm remembering it. So I'm giving this 5 backlot chases because for me, that, as I said earlier, is kind of what I feel this film was.
Yeah.
Where we all see what the industry tells us to see, but in reality, it's all just facades and empty buildings. And you go down one street and it's a Western, and the next street is New York City. And I love that chase scene between Kevin Bacon and her.
Yes.
And how it ended up. Fantastic. Again, his Louisiana suit, his accent, his just like, I used to be somebody, but people like working with me because I get the job done. Kevin Bacon was the best. Mia was the best.
Yeah.
And I can't speak more highly. I think even watching them put together the Puritan 2 film, it's like, oh, I gotta do it myself, and just like puts a blood over the actress's face because it needed more. And like how the woman was trying to make a film that was socially conscious so that she could be considered a serious filmmaker. So I thought that was kind of like a film within a film of like, she's trying to make it. Maxine's trying to make it. Even the guy trying to hunt down Maxine's trying to make it. Everybody's trying to make it in Hollywood. That's really all it was. So it's basically just like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We should just bring in Leonardo DiCaprio and have him be part of it. But I would definitely recommend this. Anybody who's a fan of Ty West films or the X trilogy, love it. I even love how they've done every poster. I saw one caption with all 3 posters, and they all have the X on it. And I'm like, well, where's the X in Maxine other than a title? Well, she's facing away from the camera, and her dress is crossed, strapped.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, that's genius. As I love how subtle that was. So it's not as like grindy and raw as the first 2 films, but the fact that it was so elegantly put into the poster for the 3rd film, fantastic.
Yeah.
But my time has come to an end, ladies. I hate to tell you. So I'm sorry. And now I need to take the torch and give it to who? Who do I give it to? Brooke? I guess Brooke. We'll give it to you, Brooke.
Okay.
Brooke. What are we watching next? Let me throw that up there. What are we watching next?
We are watching Sleepwalkers, Stephen King's old book.
Old book. Before you were born, but after us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a premonition about because I saw this movie years ago. So I feel like on further watching, I'm gonna be like, wow, those practical effects ain't as good as they used to be. But
Right.
I'm hoping that's not the case, but it probably is because I think they were hokey even back then.
Yeah.
Where are we watching this, Brooke? Where can the masses see this?
We are watching it on my Vudu, but you can watch it on YouTube, Amazon, or Vudu. But it's gonna cost you.
It's gonna cost you.
Yeah.
Just like watching this show is gonna cost you. Wait, that's not right. So, Brooke, why did you pick Sleepwalkers?
It's always been one of my favorite Stephen King movies. What? So yeah,
I think I've lost like 5 points, 1/10 of a point of respect for you, because how is it okay? Well, why is this your favorite Stephen King movie?
It's great because it has so if you haven't watched it by now, something's wrong. So it's been out since 1990. It's been out since 1992. So
Carly was definitely born by then. So yeah.
But because they're unique vampires. Like I had to Google what kind of vampires they were, but they were like psychic vampires.
I have to look because I thought they were powers. Like, I thought they were I know it's not PC to say, but I thought they were skinwalkers.
No, they're sleepwalkers.
Okay,
but they're vampires. Yeah,
right. That just shows you how long it's been since I've seen this. So.
Well,
they're shape-shifting vampires.
Oh, all right, all right.
Yeah.
All right, and Carly, no offense to you that you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, right.
What?
It's like, how dare you? Yeah, I remember Carly doesn't come from the industry.
How many times do we go in and you guys are like, "Oh, this is great," and I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't seen it."
He's like, "I don't know." She's like, "How do you spell that movie? What's that movie?" I mean, that's what I love about you, Carly, is that you come in as so fresh faced and so like virginal with like, "What horror movie? What's that?" So I mean. Brooke and I coming from different generations, but yet, big time horror fans. And usually Brooke and I never agree on anything when it comes to horror. So that's always fun.
We agree on Saw. No, that's one.
Yeah, we agree on Saw, but there are some times where you're like, this is the best. And I'm like, or vice versa. So like I said, I'll be very curious because again, if this is one of your favorite Stephen King adaptations, Brooke, and I all of a sudden love it, upon rewatch, I'll be like, wow. I have to give now Brooke 0.2 points back for being so amazing. So with that, ladies, oh, by the way, audience, just let you know, we will be taking the rest of the year off because Christmas, I know you can watch this video whenever you want, but for us, this is the end of 2024. And next couple of weeks, we got Christmas, we got New Year. So we will be back the first Sunday after the new year, which I will just let you know is the 5th. And so, Carly, you have many times and many opportunities to watch this film over the next several weeks.
I probably will wait until the 5th to straighten my mind. So.
That, you know what? And that's fine because there's some things you've brought to the stage because you watched it 10 minutes ago that I'd forgotten because I watched it 3 weeks previous. So that's always smart to do. So with that, ladies, I wish you both an amazing holiday and a safe, festive, and awesome new year. And to our audience, I wish the same. So love to you, Carly. I bid you adieu. Bye, Brooke. Make you love you. And to all of you who are joining us today or catching us online, just remember, we're always here to scare you later.